Hey everyone, let's talk about college. It's supposed to be this amazing time, right? You're figuring out who you are, what you want to do. For me, I was deep into my multimedia arts course. It was cool, I guess. I was learning about design, animation, all that stuff, but something just didn't feel right. It was like I was wearing a suit that was a little too tight in the shoulders. I knew how to do the work, and I was getting decent grades, but my heart just wasn't in it. It felt like I was following a map that someone else had drawn for me, and I kept wanting to wander off the path and explore the woods. The real passion, the thing that made my heart beat faster, was music. It always has been. I'd spend hours just thinking about melodies, writing down lyrics on napkins, and dreaming of being on a stage. Not a big fancy stage, just any stage, playing with a band. The problem was, I was already near the end of my college journey. Changing my entire major seemed impossible, like trying to switch trains while they're both moving at full speed. Everyone around me was so focused on their careers in art and design, and I felt like I was secretly living a double life, dreaming of guitars and drum kits instead of Photoshop and Final Cut Pro. So I had this big decision to make. Do I stick with the safe path, the one I had spent years and a lot of money on, or do I take a massive leap of faith and chase this music dream that felt so much more like me? It was a real tug of war in my head. One side was practical, telling me to just finish the degree and get a stable job. The other side, the louder side, was screaming at me to pick up a guitar and just play. It was a confusing time, filled with a lot of late nights staring at the ceiling, wondering which voice to listen to. I felt stuck between what I was supposed to be and who I wanted to become. That feeling is tough, you know? It's like you're at a crossroads and both signs point to places you're not sure you want to go. My multimedia arts path felt secure, but it also felt like a future in black and white. The music path was vibrant and exciting, but it was also foggy and uncertain. I knew I couldn't just drop out. That wasn't an option. So, I had to figure out a way to navigate this weird, complicated situation without losing my mind or disappointing everyone. I had to find a third way, a secret path that would let me finish what I started while preparing for the adventure I truly wanted. To get through this whole mess, I came up with a little plan. I called them my 3 golden rules. They weren't complicated. They were simple, like a good pop song. The first rule was, wait. This was the hardest one, for sure. I was so eager to start my music career, to find a band, to get out there, but I knew I had to be patient. I had to finish my degree first. It was like waiting for the green light at a really, really long red light. I told myself, just hold on. Finish this chapter before you start the next one. It required a ton of self-control, but I knew it was the responsible thing to do. The second rule was, be humble. This was huge. I had to accept that I wasn't going to be a rock star overnight. I wasn't even going to be in a band overnight. I had to be okay with starting from zero. This meant admitting that my multimedia arts degree might not directly lead to a music career. It meant being willing to learn, to listen, and to not act like I knew everything. Being humble meant understanding that my journey was just beginning, even though I was about to graduate. It's about being a student of life, not just a student in a classroom. It's a good look on anybody, trust me. The third and final rule was shift before graduating. This was my secret weapon. While I was waiting and trying to be humble, I couldn't just sit around. I had to start making small changes. I started shifting my focus. Instead of pouring all my free time into extra design projects, I started writing more songs. I watched tutorials on music production. I used my multimedia skills to design potential band logos and album art in my head. It was about redirecting my energy. I was still a full-time student, but I was planting the seeds for my future garden while still tending to the one I was already in. These 3 rules became my mantra. Whenever I felt frustrated or impatient, I'd just repeat them to myself. Wait, be humble, shift. It was my personal little pep talk. It kept me grounded and stopped me from making any rash decisions like dropping out or giving up on my dream entirely. It was a framework that allowed me to honor my commitment to finishing school while secretly and slowly building the foundation for the life I really wanted. It was my way of taking control of a situation that felt totally out of my control. And you know what? It actually worked. Now let me tell you, following those rules was not easy, especially when you're dealing with some serious real-world problems. My biggest enemy, the internet, or the lack of it. My Wi-Fi connection was terrible. I mean, it was laughably bad. It was like trying to drink a milkshake through a coffee stirrer. Trying to collaborate with other musicians online was impossible. Sending a simple audio file would take forever. I'd try to join a video call with a potential bandmate and my screen would just freeze on the most awkward facial expression. It was a constant source of frustration. It felt like the universe was conspiring against my musical ambitions. This terrible internet also had another side effect. To pass the time, I got really into online gaming. It was an escape. In the game, the connection was just good enough to play, and I could forget about my real-world problems for a while. But it became a time sink. Hours would just disappear. I'd tell myself I'd only play for 30 minutes, and the next thing I knew, the sun was coming up. It wasn't making me happy, not really. It was just a distraction, a way to numb the feeling that I wasn't making any progress toward my actual goals. The silence where my music should have been was deafening. The dream of playing in a band felt more and more distant. How can you form a band when you can't even connect with people? I couldn't go out and meet musicians easily because I was so busy with my final college projects. And I couldn't connect with them online because my internet was from the Stone Age. It was a classic catch-22. I had all this creative energy bottled up inside me with no way to release it. It was like having a race car with no gas. I was ready to go, but I was stuck at the starting line, listening to everyone else's engines roar. All these challenges really tested my patience. It was hard to wait and be humble when every attempt to shift was met with a loading screen or a dropped connection. There were days I just wanted to give up. I thought maybe the universe was telling me that this music thing just wasn't meant to be. Maybe I should just stick to multimedia arts, get a 9-to-5 job and forget about the stage. But then I'd pick up my guitar, strum a few chords, and that fire would come right back. I knew I couldn't quit on this dream. I just had to endure the static a little longer. And then, everything changed. After I finally graduated, I did it. I finished the course. The first thing I did was get a new high-speed internet connection. It was like stepping out of a dark cave into the bright sunshine. Suddenly, the world opened up. I could watch tutorials without buffering, download software in minutes instead of hours, and most importantly, I could finally connect with other people. It felt like I had been given a superpower. The digital barrier that had held me back for so long was finally gone. It was a simple thing, a good Wi-Fi signal, but it changed my entire world. With this new power, the first thing I did was quit gaming. Cold turkey. I uninstalled everything. It was a symbolic move. I was done with distractions. I was done with escaping. It was time to start building. I took all those hours I used to spend gaming and poured them directly into my music. I practiced my guitar until my fingers were sore. I wrote song after song, filling notebooks with lyrics and ideas. My focus was laser sharp. It was no longer about waiting for something to happen. It was about making it happen. The shift I had started before graduation was now in full swing. The best part, I started my own band. With a reliable internet connection, I could finally find and talk to other musicians who shared my passion. We sent audio clips back and forth, collaborated on ideas, and before I knew it, we were practicing in person. Hearing my songs played by a full band for the first time was an indescribable feeling. It was 1,000,000 times better than any video game achievement. All that waiting, all that frustration, it all melted away in that moment. We were making music, real music, and it was everything I had dreamed of. My multimedia arts background even came in handy designing our logo. Looking back, I'm so grateful for the journey. The struggles made the success so much sweeter. Being patient and humble taught me the value of hard work and not taking anything for granted. Now, I'm genuinely happy. I'm doing what I love with people I enjoy being around. My life has a soundtrack now, one that I'm writing myself. It's a new beginning, a fresh start, and the future looks bright. So if you're feeling stuck, just remember my 3 little rules. Wait for the right moment, stay humble, and keep shifting toward your dream. Your signal will come through eventually. Thank you.